Okay, so now we're ready to begin our final stretch of this assignment here. We're going to finish this little object here, and then we're going to paint in the tabletop and all these core shadows here. So if we look at our picture here and try to mark some things out, we can see that this cylinder is laying on its side. It's catching a lot of light. Out of all the objects, it is closest to the light source, and so this is going to be pretty light. There's a 2 here. I can see the highlights right there, so that's going to be a 1 right there. Okay, goes right along this area here. I can see over here, this is in shadow. You can see the shadow is about a 5, and the core shadow up here is about a 6, 7-ish. It's kind of a darker core shadow up through there. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put in this area over here. And then we'll get into the tabletop. All right, so let's pick up. I got to clean up my brushes again. Make sure you're cleaning them out every day. Really, really good. It helps to put a little bit of oil and helps to always make sure you keep this nice chiseled edge. You see how sharp of a point that comes to? If yours starts to flare out, you're not going to be able to control your brush very well, and you'll need to get some new brushes. So you want to make sure you clean them out really good, take care of them every day, and they will be your friend. Okay? If not, they won't be your friend, and you will not get a decent painting out of them. So put my 2 in. Get some thicker paint on there. There we go. There we go. If you're having a hard time blending, you're probably, if it doesn't blend when you keep going like this, you probably need to put a little bit more paint on and less of a thinner, less water or less paint thinner, whatever you're using. Lots of different things you can use. We'll get into those a little bit later, but for right now, we're just learning to take little steps at a time. Okay, so there's the 2. Now I'm going to pick up my 5. Got a little out of the lines down over here, so I got to try to clean this up a little bit. This needs to be an oval here, so you got a little pointy up here. So I'm going to fix that. There we go. And I said the 7 up at the top here for my core shadow. So I can either put that in now or I can put it in later. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in now. Pick up some 7 on my brush. This top area here with the 7. And then try to blend it out. Okay? So you can see I've created a 7, 6, and then 2, I want to put in my 1 to put that highlight in that we talked about before. So I'm going to put in my 1 right here. I'll use my little brush. Don't want to blend it in too much. I don't want it to look like a stripe, so I've got to want it to blend in just a little bit, but not too much. There, right about that. I got this nice highlight that goes all the way down. Helps to make this look a little bit more three-dimensional. Okay, now we can go in and start to put in the tabletop. So back to the picture here. Tabletop. You'll notice that as the light shines down, you really have to kind of understand how light works here. You can see the tabletop itself is maybe here in the middle where it's catching maybe the brightest light. I'm going to go with a 5. Okay, but as I get closer outer to the outer edges here, I can see it gets a little bit darker, like here in the corner would be a 7. Yeah, that's still about a 5. These shadows here are going to be about 8s. 8, 8, that's about an 8. That here is also about an 8. This shadow here is pretty dark. So this shadow over here, I'm going to make a 9. And then over here, an 8. Okay? So if you're unsure of what it is, then you can go back and take a look. But right now, let's go ahead and pick up the 8. I'm going to paint in all these shadows here with this 8. Be really careful with my edges here. This is why you want to have a nice sharp point to your brush. Sometimes when you scoop up the paint, you can get a big gob on the end of your brush. And so you may want to, before you put your brush down, take a look at it. Make sure you have a point that you're working with and not a big blob of paint. So all this here is going to be the 8. Okay, and right back here, I'm also going to make an 8. Okay, there's one spot we were going to go for 9 for the pure black, and that was going to be right here. Now, generally, I want to save my white and my black for just little spots. I don't want to overdo it, but I can see, yeah, that looks really good right there. So I got my 9 just right in there. Okay, now I can dive in and start to put in some of the other colors here. So I'm going to clean up my brush. I don't want it full of 8. Okay, and I said a 5, so let's go with a 5 to start to paint these main areas here in. So we're going to have a lot of 5. Hopefully you mixed enough that you don't have to go back and remix this. Typically when you're working with your paint and you pre-mix your paint like what I like to do, then you always want to make sure you mix more than what you think you're going to use. You don't want to mix too little and then run out. Hello.
Am I okay coming in here?
Sure. Yep, I'm just doing a demonstration here. Give me just a second here.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay. It's just recording what I'm doing down here. Let's see. Actually, I'll be done in about 10 minutes. Do you mind? I can't pause this.
It's okay.
Okay. Otherwise, I have to do it all over again.
right place for, oil?
Yeah, uh-huh, yep,
Okay.
yep. Did you just need to pick up some paints? They're right there in that box right there. I've got the blacks and whites kind of set out.
So she's already got the blacks and whites?
Okay,
We're good, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't need anything else.
Does she have her box?
Yep, just everything.
Perfect, okay. Then
So I
she
think
should,
we're good. We did this one because she's a distance runner,
yeah,
so I wasn't sure.
okay.
Probably don't need anything then.
Probably not. She has her painting box here
She has
too.
all the,
Okay.
and the black and the white.
Does she have canvases for her assignments?
So you keep doing that. I don't wanna,
Okay,
I just don't think I need to get anything.
okay. Yeah, if not, I'm here all week.
Okay,
You can just come by and just pick up whatever you need whenever you need to.
okay, good to know. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
can leave out of this door, right?
Yep, goes right outside. Now this will be the test to see if you got your drawing accurate, to see that all the shapes fit together. If you didn't, then these shadows aren't always going to make perfect sense. So you may have to adjust some of the sizes of the shadows, which is fine. I'm not going to dock you if your drawing doesn't match exactly, but you need to get it close enough that you can see all the objects, you can see the shadows. They all fit as they should. There we go, almost done. Okay, so I've got that all painted in now. And now I want to kind of fine tune some things, because right now, not really, some parts here really don't kind of fit yet. So I want to make sure that I give this one little thing you can do to really, this is really flat and even. If you look at the picture over here, the light is a little bit stronger in this area here and over here, and it gets a little bit darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some 4. Oops, that's my 3. Here we go. Pick up some 4 and put it down here in this area here, just to lighten it up a little bit, and then blend it out. And that's going to help to make the light look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so pick up this 4. So it's not perfectly even, and you can go a little bit more if you wanted to. You can pick up a little bit of 3 to really kind of bring out the sense of light in this picture. Put some over here as well. Kind of blend that in. Okay, so now it kind of gives a little bit of a spotlight effect. It makes it so it's not one flat value. Anytime you paint something in with one solid value or one solid color without any kind of gradation or any change of value, then it's going to really flatten out the space. And so really I want you to try to create some real three-dimensional space with this. I want to encourage you to not paint it in with one solid flat color. Try to give it some variations. I can pick up, let's pick up and do a little bit darker on the sides over here. One thing you'll notice, the canvas sometimes leaves a little texture behind, so you get these little white spots where your paint didn't completely cover the canvas. So you want to make sure you go for those as well. So you darken up this part over here with a 7. And then blended it in just so it gets a little bit darker on that corner there. And I can even do the same thing back here, which is also going to help to push this back a little bit because it's not going to catch the same amount of light. So maybe a little bit darker back here along this very back edge. And that's really going to help to make it finished. Okay, the other thing I want to do before I call it complete is I want to blend a couple of these edges in. Okay, and I want to clean up some of my edges as well. So I'm going to take my filbert brush, which like I said before is great for blending. Your filbert is the one that looks like this. Okay, this one. So clean it out a little bit, and then I want to go over and try to clean up some of these edges perhaps. I don't want to, just want to straighten them up. But on these cast shadows here, I want to soften those edges a little bit so they're not a hard edge, because then that makes them look like a shape. And so all along these edges here where I made these cast shadows, you can see I'm going to go through and blend those in so then they'll read as a shadow and not a shape, especially right under here underneath this sphere. You can see that's a really strong shape there. I'll bring that shadow up and around. Oops, and I'm picking up a little bit too much of my paint, so I'm going to put some more of this down here. So bring it around and over a little bit. I want to make sure that shadow connects with this shadow right here, so I'm going to bring that out a little bit more as well. So all of these cast shadows are going to have a soft edge to them. Oops, I can a little bit of paint on my sphere. Okay, so I'm softening up all those edges there. Now I can really see it's starting to connect. Now I messed up on this sphere, so I'm going to go back and touch that one up as well. This will happen. You just got to go with it sometimes. There we go. Clean up that edge there. Gotta have a real steady hand sometimes. Let's go back here. Now I think this is a little too light. That's kind of bothering me. So I'm going to go in and knock that down a little bit. There, I think it's a little bit better. Okay, that's it. That's the assignment right there. Okay, so good luck. If you match all your values as close as you can get, or like we talked about, then this shouldn't be as difficult to do. So make sure before you go, make sure each shape has a highlight, a midtone or halftone, cast shadow, core shadow, and reflected light. Okay? Good luck.